Hey guys, Michael here from youtube.com/therevivedone. In this video I'm going to be giving you a review of the Lenovo S10 netbook computer. Now I've already walked you through the hardware, as well as unboxed it when it first arrived from Lenovo for review, as well as giving you a tour of the instant-on operating system. Now I didn't walk you through the main operating system because it is Windows XP, as you can see, and we all know what Windows XP feels like, how it works, and the different features of it. So it was kind of irrelevant for me to walk you through that hardware. Just quickly I just wanted to show you the backlight. That's as low as it goes, and if we hold it, it'll jump up to full brightness. So it has a pretty good range of light. Just one thing I wanted to show you that has nothing to do with the review, but I wanted to give it to you anyway. So just a quick rundown of the specs. This is an Atom processor N270, so that's a 1.6 gigahertz single-core Intel Atom processor. It's running Windows XP. Has a gig of RAM and a 160 gigabyte hard drive. That's actually partitioned, so you only have about 100 gigs available to you because of because of their rescue disk type thing. We'll get to that in a minute. It has a 10.2-inch anti-glare display with a camera here. A 1-year warranty. As you can see, this model comes in red, but they also have options for it in pink, blue, white, and black, and it includes a 1-year warranty. Now, as you can see, when you close it, it hibernates, something that we all know from Windows XP. So, to make it come out of hibernation, you just have to press the power button, and it'll start itself back up. Now, as you can see here, this little hump, which actually makes it more ergonomical when you're typing, is actually that 6-cell battery, which I think is a good thing to have on here. But keep in mind, it is $100 extra for that battery. Even though you can't actually upgrade it. They have a different model, they have a different lineup, but the only difference between those two lineups is that 6-cell battery, as far as I could tell. So in essence, you're paying $100 to $50 more for a 6-cell battery, bringing the total cost up to a pretty reasonable $399 in the United States. So the pros, again, the 6-cell battery is a pro. I can use it the way I have it in my house. I just have it sitting in the family room, in just the main room where everybody congregates, and people can just get onto it whenever they need it. Usually I charge it about every 2 days, but I'm pretty sure you can get at least 4 hours non-stop use out of that 6-cell battery. Now the keyboard, which is a big issue with all netbooks, is pretty good. It's a little bit cramped. That comes along with the territory with netbooks, but it's definitely usable. Somebody in my family are pretty good typists, excuse me, and they were able to use it not as efficiently as a full-size keyboard, but use it at a pretty good speed. Another good pro is the fact that it includes an express card slot, which you just don't see on netbooks these days. A lot of times they just don't put it in for whatever reason, and it's just nice to have. Even though I haven't used it, it's just nice to have in a netbook for expandability if you want to add a 3G card, whatever, in that express card slot. Again, that larger hard drive is nice, 160 gigs. It is a 5400 RPM hard drive, so that's something to keep in mind. But 160 gigs is pretty solid, and it ships with XP. I think that adds some value to it, even though maybe I'm not saying that I'm the hugest or the largest Microsoft Windows fan, but I think XP is a solid operating system, and I definitely prefer XP to any Linux distribution at this point. Another pro is that instant-on operating system that we walked you through, called, that I believe, Quick Start. Check that video out, youtube.com/therevivedone. And it has a great, robust backup software solution for you. It's called the One-Key Rescue System, and allows you to easily restore your system and recover valuable data, in essence, at the click of a button. So it really makes it quite simple for you to have those files that you need backed up, and if there's a virus, let's say, you just press a button and you can go back in time and you're good to go. But that is why you don't have that full space. So if we go over here to my computer, and I'm not sure exactly how much you can see, the viewer, but you can see you have two hard drives, a Lenovo D drive and a local disk C. The C drive gives you 103 gigs, and the Lenovo drive gives you 30.3 gigs. So that's just something to keep in mind. And also, it's pretty powerful for a netbook. This is the first one I've used, so it's a little bit relative to what you've compared it to and what powerful means. I mean, I have a MacBook Pro sitting right back here, so I wouldn't say it's comparable to that. But I think in the netbook, it can do everything a netbook needs. It can get online, edit Word documents. In fact, it can watch YouTube and Hulu videos, which is really cool. So for this to supplement a desktop wherever you go, you pretty much have access to all the files you need and be able to do almost anything on the web you would want. Now, I'm not saying, I like to do tab browsing, for instance. I'm not sure exactly how many tabs you'd be able to use. Usually I do maybe 2 or 3 on this netbook compared to maybe 10 or 15 on my MacBook Pro. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now the cons is there's really no customization from Lenovo in terms of internal components. Like for the battery, you have to go up to their next line, which again is the only difference is that battery, which is a little strange, I think. Also, you can't change the hard drive, you can't upgrade the CPU, you can't do a lot of things in terms of upgrading. In fact, you can't really do anything in terms of internal components. No RAM, no CPU, no hard drive, no SSD options, none of that. So that's a big problem in terms of this, because depending on what you want to do, maybe you want to have a solid state drive and 2 gigs of RAM for maximum performance. You're going to have to do that on your own. You're going to have to buy the RAM separate third party, you're going to have to buy the hard drive third party and install it yourself. Maybe not a problem for a lot of people because they do that anyway to save some cost, but there's no option from Lenovo, which I think is a disappointment. Also, the integrated camera is really weak on this. Now, of course this is HD, 1080p, I export in 720p, and that's what you see on YouTube, so the quality is definitely not as good as what's being recorded live in the RAW source, which is a lot of space. But even compared to the iSight camera on the MacBook Pro, this thing is weak. I can't really say any more than that, just to, again, reiterate that you're probably not going to be able to record comparable YouTube videos or comparably remember or post your thoughts on anything, really, with this. So that's just something to keep in mind, that it's nice to have, but in practical use, I would never use it for anything. That definitely needs to be upgraded, but not only do they not offer it in another line, you can't upgrade it because they don't allow you to upgrade anything in essence. Also, the 6-cell battery should be standard. You shouldn't have to pay an extra $50 to get that 6-cell battery to move up to that next line. It's just a little bit weird. Keep it standard. Why are you charging us extra money? This is a netbook, and if with a 3-cell battery, this would not be a recommended computer. But with a 6-cell battery, it is a recommended computer. I highly recommend this laptop or netbook. And the last thing is just the trackpad is really small. If you look at it, it's tiny, guys. And multi-touch, this is a multi-touch trackpad, which when I heard about it, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. But I'm not sure if it's because of the power, it just lags, but sometimes multi-touch doesn't work. I'm not really sure why that is, but sometimes I'm trying to use multi-touch, it doesn't work. So, and also in the Quick Start Instant On operating system, the mouse isn't at the same sensitivity as it is in Windows, and it's way too sensitive. It's really hard to use. So it's just a little bit weird. So overall, I definitely recommend this. 2 thumbs up in terms of netbooks. It's definitely a good buy if you're in the netbook market at $400. In the future, I'd again like to see them upgrade the trackpad and give you more customization options online. Although it's not necessarily that hard to upgrade the hard drive yourself or the RAM, a lot of people just can't do that. It's just, they're not computer people. That's just not feasible for them. And not having those customization options directly from the manufacturer is kind of a letdown. But again, this is the Lenovo Ideapad S10. I'm Michael Sherlock from youtube.com/therevived1, and this netbook is highly recommended.